first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming today and celebrating in the tremendous honor that I have been bestowed with. And then also thanking you guys for wanting to cover any and everything pertaining to women's basketball here at ODU and the wonderful season that we're having thus far. I got the announcement was made last night, and I was definitely in tears, and my phone was ringing off the hook. Messages were coming through, and I just had to put my phone down. But it was a process where I was up all night long trying to either respond or trying to read everyone's responses to me. But I'm extremely proud, and I'm honored, and I just feel so blessed to be able to have my career come to this point to where I'm being recognized for all of my sacrifices and the efforts that were made over my 17-year span or tenure that I was within the WNBA. If you count my ABL years, then I'll probably be pushing 19 years total as a pro. But to be able to do it domestically and internationally on every level, from the Olympic level to the WNBA level, I'm just tickled pink that I was able to do it for so long and at such a high level. And although there were many, many times where I was either overlooked or not even considered, in part because of the people that I played with. When you have Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker, Tina Thompson all on your team, and our entire starting five could be chosen for an all-star team, they couldn't pick everyone. So someone had to be left off, and sometimes that was usually me. So I felt like there were moments where I didn't get my just due, but when you receive an honor such as this, it's a good consolation prize in my eyes. But thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I am truly touched to the point that there's so many people that I feel it's necessary that I need to thank in some form or fashion, whether it's me inviting them out to Tennessee or we putting on a celebration for all of my family and friends in California on the West Coast, all my family friends in rural South Georgia on the southeastern coast, and then definitely my family here at ODU.
Coach, did you know a little bit before that announcement was made, or did you find out with the rest of us during halftime?
I found out late Friday evening. I got a call from Carolyn Peck, and there was a message on my phone, and my phone transcribed it as Carolyn Pat. And I was like, okay, I don't know Carolyn Pat. So I called the number back, and I said, hi, this is DeLisha Milton-Jones. Carolyn Pat left a message for me to call her back, and she said, DeLisha, this is Carolyn Peck. And I said, oh my gosh, I know that accent anywhere. And I was like, Carolyn, how are you? And she said, well, before we go any further, let me do my job. And she said, I'm here to formally announce to you that you have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And my jaw dropped, instant waterworks. My husband, Roland Jones, was sitting across from me, and we were both just looking at each other like, we need to pinch each other right now because this moment is just so surreal. So yes, I knew, but it still didn't really hit me. But seeing it on television last night, I was like, yeah, this is really happening, and I couldn't be happier.
How did you, was it hard to keep it under wraps there for 72 hours?
No, because they swore me to secrecy. They said, do not tell anyone, so I was like, I ain't telling nobody, you know. And funny story, I think Matt knew as well, so we both were kind of like, I'm not saying nothing, and he's asking me questions. I'm like, mom's the word over here, you know. So I didn't want to give it away because obviously I've never been through this process before, and I didn't know if it was leaked, would that mean something bad for me? So I wasn't going to take a chance.
You mentioned some of those names like Candace Parker. How many of those people reached out to you?
Oh my gosh. Everybody has reached out. One of the ones that I can remember recently is Tisha Penichero. She had a list of things. She said, I don't know where to start, but I'm going to start here by saying congratulations, welcome to the Hall of Fame family. And she's so proud of what we're doing here at ODU with her being an alumni and just us being WNBA sisters or professional sisters internationally and domestically. She was just praising me for my efforts and for the person that I am. So it's been a pretty cool ride so far.
Coach, what kind of reaction have you gotten from your team? That's awesome. That's just awesome.
They have been, they're so special to me. Golly, I don't want to tear up. I know this moment is about me. I know this moment is about me, but man, you guys, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for these young women. And they shower me with love and affection, and just seeing how proud they are and them recognizing what's going on, it just tickles me pink on the inside, but then at the same time, it motivates me even more to be better in whatever capacity that I can be as their leader and that living example for them. But they, you know, they wanted to treat me to seafood tonight because they know that's my favorite meal. When we were in practice today, the post players, they would be like, "Oh my gosh, I just got a high five from a Hall of Famer." Like, "Oh my gosh, I just got a pass from a Hall of Famer." You know, they've been keeping the mantra going and making me blush all day long. But I'm just so thrilled and just so happy to be able to share this moment with them, because I'm hoping that one day one of them can be showered with an award and an honor like this.
You kind of shared a little bit right there, but when was the first time you saw your team as a group, and when they first saw you, what was the reaction?
Wow, the first time was you mean since this announcement?
Since the announcement, yeah.
Well, it was today. It was today. It was today. We actually had a breakfast, and it was about 6 of them that were present, maybe 5 or 6 players that were present at the breakfast at 7:30 this morning with some donors. And they were cooing and, you know, just awing over what's been accomplished. And I'm happy to see them happy and them celebrating me the same way that I celebrate them on a daily basis. But they're just awesome. They're just awesome.
How do you think your playing style translates into your coaching style? You know what I mean? Because you were a certain way as a player.
Yeah.
Do you coach a similar way to as you played, if that makes sense?
I definitely do. You know, I was well versed in my opponent, so that means I was very knowledgeable about who they are and what they like to do. I was a student of the game, and I respected the game on that level. Then I was highly competitive, and there was not a play that I did not give my best, most concentrated effort. Then on top of that, I could be just as compassionate and loving towards my teammates, but my opponents caught hell. But as a coach, I am definitely that, but I'm also a type of individual where I can flip the switch. I can be intense and in your face and aggressive and within its appropriate moments, but then at the same time, I can be loving and caring and kind, and I'm sunshine. So there's the 2 personalities, D Nasty on the court, sunshine off the court. But it's something that I take a lot of pride in, being the best person I can be off the court and being the best competitor that I can be on the court.
You may not have given this too much thought yet, but is this something, I mean, if recruits hear Hall of Famer in your title, I mean, that can only help the program, I would assume.
I would hope so. I would hope so. And I know that, you know, with my husband being on staff, he's going to be the first one to spit that out. You know, like, who wouldn't want to be coached by a Hall of Famer? I mean, come on, you know. And I think some of my best recruiters are my players. You know, when we have recruits here on official visits, or if they happen to talk to recruits in their downtime, I'm sure they'll be the ones to tell the story better than I could.
Coach, you talk about 19 seasons and then even into your amateur career. It's hard to think about the totality of it in this moment, but when you learn that you're a Hall of Famer, whether it's as Sunshine or as D Nasty, are there specific moments that you thought back on over the last 72 hours, and what were some of those?
Well, I'll tell you this. I shared my mom and we shared a moment the other night, and golly. Whew. Being the adult that I am now, when I look back on my career, I can see why things happened the way that they did. And I'm so glad that I am the person that I am, that went through those experiences, because it drove me. What I'm speaking about is the 7th grade, when I'm new to the game, but I had a hunger for it. There was something within my DNA that just attached to that sport. I did everything else but basketball. It was just something different about basketball when the taste was on my palate. My coach would not put me in the game to save my life. I would sit on the edge of my seat and be like, Miss Miller, please, can I go in? And the young lady that she would put in didn't want nothing to do with basketball. Couldn't catch, couldn't walk, couldn't run, couldn't jump, couldn't do anything. But her mother was a superintendent, and there's some political benefits to some things that happen. Well, going through all of that, it drove me. I never gave up. My sister was a sophomore or junior at the high school, and I would always walk from my practice to my sister's practice. And I would be sitting there, and my sister's coach, the varsity coach, saw me, and she said, hey, since you're here, you might as well practice with us. So I practiced with the varsity team, and she saw something within me. And she said, every day you come back here, we're going to continue to work. And that just blossomed into me getting to high school, and I'm starting as a freshman because of all of that work that was put in. But had it not been for those moments of defeat that I didn't allow to define me or reroute my journey, I allowed it to fuel me. And I learned from it. And my mother wasn't the type of parents that we have nowadays where they're like, my baby deserves to play. And I'm taking her off this team and I'm putting her on that team. And now they're changing high schools a million times. And they're bouncing from AAU team to AAU team. There was a stick-to-itiveness about how my mom raised us. And I stuck it out. And I'm better for it today. So when I look at the culmination of my career, I have to look at those moments that really defined who I was as a person and then who I became as a player. And it's the defeating moments that probably have been the ones that I remember the most because they made me the best.
What was the name of your high school coach?
Miss Miller.
The high school coach?
Oh, I'm sorry. Janet Reddick. Janet Reddick. Coach Reddick. Yeah, Coach Reddick. Little short, feisty lady. If she saw me right now, she would be like, look at them cow eyes. Lord have mercy.
Iggy, what are your thoughts and the thoughts of your teammates? What was your reaction when you heard?
The news about Coach D? So we were informed about her being a nominee for the Hall of Fame probably a week ago. So we were already making videos and congratulating her prior to her even winning the award and the induction. So, I mean, when I found out about it, I was speechless. My sister, I was actually on the phone with my sister, and we both were watching it. And I ended up taking a picture of them having her and I think it was a coach that got inducted as well. And I was just speechless. I texted her immediately, and then I texted group chat, and I was so amped up. I was so pumped for her. I was so happy for her. I am still happy for her and proud of her.
You didn't find out until last night.
Last night, yeah.
Coach, when you first came in here, you mentioned thank you all for coming to cover something that is women's basketball. You talk about the impact the game has had on you, but you've also been a very critical part of the growth of women's basketball. When you first started, it looked a lot different than it looks today.
Most definitely.
Did you ever think that the sport would be in a position where you can enter its own Hall of Fame? And do you think back on the growth of the game in a moment like this?
Yes, I do. Yes to all of that. When I came into the league, obviously the league was in its infancy stage. I chose between the ABL and the WNBA. And I chose the ABL because that player was more so about that league was more so about the players, and the players had part ownership in the league. Even if it was a fraction of a percent, there was a lot of pride that was at stake in everything that we did in representing that league. The WNBA, the salaries were a lot lower, $50,000 salary compared to $200,000 salary. Being a college student, you're going to go where the money is. So I chose that route. But then that league went defunct, and then I came to the WNBA. And being in the WNBA, you recognize that we were doing something special. It was monumental, and it had the backing of the NBA. So we knew that there was no way that we could fail if people continued to support the way that we needed them to, monetarily, getting their butts in seats, and us being out in the community representing the league the way that we should. But more than anything, what we displayed on the court needed to be a product that was worth backing. So everyone, all of the pioneers within the game, we played not for ourselves, but we played for the ones coming behind us. So we were trying to pay it forward, for people like Iggy Allen to have an opportunity to play. It's my job and responsibility to make sure that I handle the league with the care that it needed to be handled with, so that the ones behind me could reap the benefits that maybe I wouldn't see. But I'm so proud to see that 25 years later, the league is stronger than ever from a from a vocal standpoint, from the game and how it's played, and then how it's marketed and how it's backed. These are tremendous efforts that have been going on behind the scenes for years, and now we're looking at the culmination of all of that hard work and sacrifices from every player, 1 to 120, as it was back then. All of that work has not been for naught. It hasn't gone in vain, and I'm so happy about that.
How special would it be, this is the year that you were inducted into or voted into the Women's Hall of Fame, how special would it be to add on to that with a Conference USA championship and a spot in the big dance?
It would be everything, and that is everything that we are fighting for. We're not doing this for nothing. We're coming in and we're trying to take everything that we can, and we want to be the ones to set the tone and send the messages, and I think our play has been indicative of that throughout this season. Yes, we've hit some rough patches here or there, but each of those moments of defeat have been tremendous learning lessons for us as we trudge towards becoming winners and champions. And I'm feeling a shift in the atmosphere within the community of Norfolk, Virginia, where people are starting to recognize who we are and what we are doing, and they're coming out slowly but surely to support. And I hope that this is a momentum that we can carry on, and it can roll right into March as we're dancing our way, to the first round, Sweet 16, and we get some upsets here or there. But the first order of business is to put our focus on these remaining 6 games that we have in conference. Now we get ourselves positioned to where we get a double or a single bye, and then we go into conference play and handle our business accordingly.
Anything from our Zoomers?
Yeah, I'm just afraid I'm going to cry. I feel like we've been on a journey for more than 20 years, DeLisha. So just say you have so many experiences in basketball, not just the WNBA, not just college, but so much international play, really sacrificing time and family. Just talk about how all that journey brought you to this point.
Well, first I want to tell you thank you, Lois, from the times you would bring me gluten-free cookies in the locker room after the games, and, the wonderful moments we've shared after the Olympics, and I put my medal on your neck. You've always been a tremendous advocate for the women's game, and I appreciate you so much for being not just great at what you do, but also a great person and someone I can call friend. Second to that, to answer your question, it's awesome when you can go on a journey that I've been on and you are able to share that space with someone you love. And my husband, Roland H. Jones Jr., he's been an intricate part of my growth and my success. And he's seen me on every level in every moment all over this world. And having him in my corner, pushing me when I may want to give up, holding me back when I might want to go too far and too hard for too long. I think it would be a huge mistake on my end if I neglected what people have been able to do for me to put me on this pedestal that I am able to sit on nowadays. And when I look over my career, I think that if I had it all to do again, I would do it the exact same way, giving everything that I have in every moment and never being selfish about it, doing it the right way, being an unsung MVP type player where I have the abilities to take over a game, but I'm going to do what's best for the team. And as a result, my sacrificing allowed for us to have opportunities to call ourselves champions.
How do you impart that message perhaps to your players now? I mean, you were always such a selfless player that you made, I'm not going to say the names, but I'll just say certain people wouldn't have been all that they were without you being their teammate. So how do you don't want to say to someone and let them take it in a negative way, oh, I'll be a role player. But, I mean, you can still be a starter and be an effective role player. So how did you find it in yourself to make other people be their best?
Well,
while getting your best.
Well, for me, Lois, I'm all about winning. And if that means that sometimes I have to take a step back in order for someone else to take a step forward, then I'm willing to do that. And when you have the right mindset and you are a team player, then you're going to do that without a bat of an eye. Yes, I played with individuals that were all about the points and the rebounds because it affected their marketing and their sponsorship dollars. But for me, I value the win more than anything. And if she can get what she needs and I can get what I need out of these circumstances, then we're all winning at the end of the day. Whether I had the double-double or if I finished with something lesser than that, I'm still on the championship podium. And that's all that mattered to me. I wanted to be in the picture, and I felt like my work and the way I carried myself, it would be recognized when the time was right. And it seems like the time is right now. In the moment it was hard, seeing my teammates go off and be a 8, 9, 10, 11-time All-Star, and I only have 2 or so to my name. No Defensive Player of the Year when that's what I did. Diana Taurasi, you ask her. She probably hated me as an opponent because I wasn't going to give her and the same for...
And the wife is going to be other people being it. That's perfect. So Diana can say something lovely about her wife at the ceremony and trash you.
Exactly.
Diana fashion.
Exactly. And, the same goes for Lauren Jackson. I didn't have a lot of fans because I guarded every team's best player. And when you have someone like me who is relentless and competitive, and if you want to talk trash, I'm going to talk it nastier back to you. If you want to go blow for blow, I'm going to go blow for blow back with you. So when they see me coming, they hated me. But the hate also had a level of respect attached to it, too, because they recognized the great things that were happening on the court. But as for my teammates, I wouldn't trade them for the world. They deserved every ounce of recognition that they got because they are true pioneers of this women's game. Lisa Leslie, 101 points in half of basketball. Like, come on. Who's not going to pass the ball to her? Candace Parker, the first female to win a dunk contest. And, every other thing that she has done that's been amazing. Who's not going to pass the ball to her? I'm not degrading myself, but I'm smart enough to know where my bread is buttered. And I'm going to make sure that those players, get what they need so that I can still get what I need at the end of the day. And that's why it was easy to do it, because we were sisters. We respected each other. They respected me for what I do because they didn't have some of the skill sets that I had. And my best skill set was my relentlessness, my physicality of play, and just being, as smart as I was on the defensive end of the court and being able to grow my game and not just settle into a role.
I would even ask a player, how does the fact that your coach didn't get perhaps at times the recognition she deserved in her pro career? Well, she did internationally, where she got a lot of MVP honors. In the WNBA, not as much. How does that teach you about put team first, put team first?
Yes,
That's for you.
Well, Iggy is Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie-esque, so
Okay.
might be a tough question for her to answer.
Everything happens for a reason. And with that being said, I believe that recognizing the bigger picture and knowing that it's all about the team, it's only going to favor you at the end. You will be rewarded. I will be rewarded, putting the team first, because that's what it's about. It's a team sport. And I think that Coach D has a great insight about the whole thing with, playing with other star players. So I'm just learning more and more about that each day.
And you basically answered my question about your husband before I got to ask it. But I mean, he really has been the partner throughout all this journey. We've been together now more than 20 years, and this year is 19 years of marriage, not 20, right? 19th anniversary this year. I mean, what has that meant to have him there? Not just supporting. I mean, everyone hopes they would have a supportive spouse or partner, but really, like, you're not even just your cheerleader, but someone who really looked at your game always and helped you keep building it right till the very last season.
Yeah, the role that he played. First of all, our lives it's been a living movie. We are loving basketball. We fell in love over this sport, and we've stayed in love through this sport. And he's been an individual that saw something in me a long time ago when I was probably within my second year in the WNBA. That's when we really started getting serious. And he said to me, hey, you can have longevity in this, but you are going to have to become more versatile. And I didn't understand what he was saying, because I thought I was just there to rebound, run, and defend. And he said, no, you need to work on your offensive game. You need to get a jump shot. With the people that you're playing around, they're going to be double teamed. They're going to need someone to throw the ball to and be able to depend on and knock down shots. So he was a visionary for me. He was able to foreshadow and see things down the road. I was more of an in-the-moment, omnipresent type person. But he was futuristic in his thought patterns. So I trusted him. And he had, Kurt Thomas was his best friend. So he's in the NBA, and they have a different level of conversation than what I've ever been afforded the luxury of being within. And he told me, this is how the NBA guys do it. This is how they think. And if you can change these things within your game, then it's only going to aid you later on. I listened. We embarked on the journey together. And here I am, a Hall of Famer. And I have him to thank, because he was the one in the gym shooting with me and putting up with my rants when I did not want to become a three-point shooter or did not want to handle the ball like that. And I was frustrated because it didn't just happen for me that day. Kicking the ball all over the gym, cussing him out, and him just being patient with me. Even playing one-on-one against me. And it got to the point where I was able to start beating him. And then we had to stop playing because it was getting crazy. But that's my homie. That's my friend. That's my Ace Boone Coon. He is everything for me.
He's also one of the first people you coached, because at one point you took over as the coach of the team he was playing on.
Yeah.
So we'll end on the question, how did he put you on the path to becoming a coach? He said, like, just the greatest things about how well you did as a coach, and the guys on the team all respected you, and you ran great plays, and you were good practice, but that was really your first coaching experience. So how did that put you on the path to be where you are today as a coach?
Well, he was my guinea pig, if I'm being honest. I said, okay, the first thing I need to do when I get in here, the first mistake my husband makes, I'm going to rip him. And so he like made a bad pass and missed a layup, and I just blew the whistle, and I just tore him a new one. And when everyone in the gym saw me handle him that way, and then how he handled me back, when he was like, I got you, coach, my bad, coach, then the whole atmosphere changed, and everyone was like, oh, wow. If she can do that to him and he can handle her that way in return, then I better get my butt in order, because she's going to come for me next. And him allowing me the space to be my best in that arena just opened up a door. And after that experience, he said, you're onto something special. You're very gifted when it comes to this game and how you see it. And if you can handle men, then I think you can handle anybody. And he was like, you're going to be a good coach one day. But like usual, I just shoot him off like, whatever, I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm going to play forever. But he's spoken into existence, and here I am.
Well, congratulations. I had some tears last night when I saw the press release, and I almost wasn't going to check my email again. And I'm like, oh, let me check my email one more time before I go to bed. And then I started crying and posting things online, and I'm going to try to come to the ceremony in Tennessee.
That would be awesome, Lois. It would be great to see you. Bring some gluten-free cookies, okay?
Oh, I have to find a shipping service. We'll get you a bunch now, even before the ceremony.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Jamie, do you have anything?
Yeah, hey, Coach, I wonder, you spoke about this a little bit, but, there's such a rich tradition for ODU women's basketball, and, obviously you're part of that these last 2 seasons, but what does it mean to sort of, join the Hall of Fame with really some impressive names that have played and coached for ODU?
Everything has come full circle when I am able to hear my name in the same sentence with Marianne Stanley and Donovan. Both are 2 phenomenal women that coached me. Marianne Stanley, with the Sparks, and Donovan, obviously, on my Olympic journey in Beijing, China, back in 2008. Then when you have Tisha Penichero, she was my opponent and my teammate. And then when you look at Nancy Lieberman-Klein, she's someone that I've known, and she's given me recognition in this game when I was just a baby, at the University of Florida. And she wrote the article, The Best Player You Never Heard Of. And her being who she is and speaking of me in that light, that turned on the spotlight to DeLisha Milton-Jones. And people started recognizing me for who I was and what I was doing on the court at the University of Florida. And then from there, my career just kind of took off. So being able to be in the same conversation with the individuals that represent this university, I'm honored. And now here I am at this university. I think it's something that all of us can be proud of, and there's a sisterhood that can be built around that accomplishment of us all being Hall of Famers and having some connection to Old Dominion University.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're good.
Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You did a great job.